Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Courtside with Beilinson Tennis, part of the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. We have with us tonight Mike Manzella, an experienced racket club teaching professional and has been a certified P1 performance, adult, and 10 and under member of the United States Professional Tennis Registry since 2005. He recently founded racquetpros.com in 2020 after finding just how difficult it was to match racket club instructors with available racket club jobs. By making racket professionals and their skill sets discoverable on demand, Manzella and his team at racquetpros.com help find the best match for both parties' unique needs. He has experience as both an employer and a coach, and currently serves as executive director of rackets of Southtowns Tennis Club in Orchard Park, New York. Please welcome to the pod, Mike Manzella. Mike, thanks for spending time and talking about everything going on with you right now.
David, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the platform to talk about racquetpros.com. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Well, hey, you're in New York. I'm in Chicago, cold weather states. We're talking now in mid-May. Weather's getting better. People are getting outside. Things are opening up, thankfully. So I think things are looking on the up and up for everybody in our industry, hopefully.
They are certainly on the up and up. So this is the 3 to 4 months that we wait all year for, right? So we're looking forward to hitting summer with a bang.
Oh, for sure. So before we get into racquetpros.com, I just want to kind of get a background on yourself. And I understand you started coaching in your parents' court in your backyard at age 17. And I think you're approaching about 20 years in the industry. Is that about right?
That's about right. Yeah. Yeah. Close to 20 years. It's totally flown by. It's amazing. Yeah, I was very fortunate to have my parents. We built a court. They saw how passionate I was, and my brother, who played at the time as well. We were super excited about the sport. So they were nice enough to put a court in the backyard for us. And I don't know, it was maybe a few years after we had it built. I said, you know what? I need to get a summer gig. I need a summer job. I don't want to work fast food. I love tennis. Let me start dishing out some flyers in the neighborhood and seeing if I can corral some neighborhood kids to teach them lessons for 10, 12 bucks an hour. And that started my love for the coaching side of the industry. I was obviously playing and competing prior to that, but so yeah, who would have thought that it would have brought me, that experience would have brought me here today. So I'm so glad and fortunate that my parents did that.
Yeah. So you continued coaching part-time through university. And then I think after graduation, you worked for Peter Burwash International for a while, right?
I did.
450 hours of training.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome, super intensive. Yeah, I carried through when I went to the University of Buffalo, and was actually the club that I'm at now. Ironically, I was teaching part-time at, just as an assistant pro. Yeah, I graduated with a communications degree, and I said, okay, now what am I going to do with myself? And I said, well, you know what? I love business and I love tennis. I wonder if there's a way where I could, marry the two. And a friend of mine turned me on to Peter Burwash International. I'd never heard about the company before. Long story short, a couple months later, they'd interviewed with them. And yeah, as you mentioned, once you get through the interview process, it's about 450 hours in a month's time, purely on, tennis and tennis resort club management. Obviously there's some teaching in there as well. So I got to have some 4 phenomenal years with Peter Burwash. The great thing about that company for me was it really, coming from Buffalo, a pretty small market, tennis community, tennis town, it really gave me a international view of the sport. And, not only did I worked at, I think, 6 different locations, one down in the Virgin Islands, another one in London. I was in Austria for a little bit, but I spent most of my time in Southwest Florida. But working, I think they have about 100 different pros within the company from all over the world. So it really kind of opened up my eyes and gave me a different appreciation for, the sport on an international level. So I was very fortunate to have that experience. And then as I said, I did that for about 4 years. And then Sure enough, I ended up moving back home about 10 years ago to take over the club that I'm currently at now. And, it was a blessing to have the opportunity to move back to be a little bit closer to family and friends. And so that's where I currently reside and employed right now.
Yeah, so I want to kind of get into how Racket Pros came to be, because in September of 2020, you were looking for a pickleball professional, right? To grow the pickleball programming. You had trouble sourcing candidates. You saw a growing need for clubs to hire racket professionals, not just tennis professionals. And
That's
then
correct.
in April of we'll go back, April 2020,
Mhm.
you actually were
I was on the
affected
other
by the
end.
pandemic, as
Yes.
were many people, and you were on
Mhm.
the other end, actually looking for a new position yourself. Um,
Mhm.
and after you doing your own research, using other sites to search for new positions, you felt there was a need that this could be done a little bit better, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was really a culmination of a lot of different experiences. As mentioned, I was really having a hard time, going back about 4 or 5 years ago, I started pickleball at our club. And it was honestly, if there was 10 to 15 people playing a week, I kind of used it to fill some dead court time in the middle of the day. And, to be honest, wasn't sure how the longevity of the sport. Now it's for sure here to stay. There's
Right.
absolutely no question about that. So I said, look, it brings us some extra traffic and it's a good thing. Now we're at about 200 people playing a week. It's just totally blown up over the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, in the past year or so, I've been really working hard to try and build our programming. And besides just offering open play leagues, I want to be able to offer people instruction and make it a full experience for everybody at the club. So in doing that, yeah, I've had a really difficult time trying to source somebody to fit that role. So that happened pre-pandemic. And I told myself, come on, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to try and find somebody. And I wasn't landing on anything that was helping. Then, of course, pandemic hit shortly after that. Now I'm on the other side of the spectrum. A couple of weeks after my first child, Helena, was born, here I am now looking for a position myself. And the reason I bring it up is I'm not looking for empathy, but it's more the relatability, because I know hundreds and thousands of coaches in the industry were in the same position. Employers just had to shut down. They had no choice other than to start laying people off. So going through that experience, trying to now say, okay, well, look, I gotta, here I am in Buffalo. There's only so many director of tennis or director of racket positions within a 50-mile radius. You know, we're going to have to pack up and move, right? If we want to kind of continue, or I have to have a career change, which wasn't really interested in doing. And in that process of using different platforms and trying to, find different positions, I was like, look, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better experience for coaches in the industry, or really anybody that's in the racket sport industry, to find and connect, to make, to land positions for themselves in a more easily readable fashion. So yeah, it really came out of a couple of those pain points for me. And I said, look, I'm going to try and, come up with a better platform and see if I could deliver a better experience. And lastly, David, too, one of my passions and what I do now is I really love the actual recruitment process for what I do for the clubs now. I love building teams. I love creating opportunities to help those who are at the facility to excel. So I kind of said to myself, look, if there's a way I can kind of bring all this together, and I know it's kind of a big idea, and said, look, if I can help pros and coaches around the world, whether they're in tennis, whether they're in padel, if they're platform, if they're, pop tennis, pickleball, whatever, if I can, make someone's experience out of my personal pain points better, and I help someone find a dream job, or I help an employer find that candidate they've been desperately searching for, that would be so fulfilling for me. So that's really where, racketpros.com came from.
No, that's so great. And like you said, I mean, how fulfilling is it for you if someone is looking for their dream job or someone recently been laid off and now they have a great opportunity? Makes you feel amazing. So that's great. I guess
Absolutely.
let's kind of talk about it. Racketpros.com from two perspectives. One, let's start from the employer point of view. So I'll let you kind of
Sure.
talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So, really the employer. So there's really two, as you mentioned, there's two components, right? There's the employer side of it. Then there is also the professional or the job seeker side of it. So for the employer, what they have the ability to do when they join the platform is obviously, they can post a job, right? That's the most basic feature that they have. So you can post a job, but what's really, really, I think, valuable is you can search for candidates based on sport, based on geography. If you want to find someone within a 10-mile radius, or you want to open it up to the entire globe, depending on what your needs are, you can search based on skills, experience, certifications, anything that the coach or the job seeker employee fills out in their profile is searchable. So, and there's different fields that we have built out for that candidate to do that. So, it's the way I kind of explain it to people, especially here in the U.S. is, most people are familiar with Zillow, and especially with the real estate market being so hot. You can, if you're looking for a single family with 1-bedroom house, you can put in whatever filters that you want based on the exact criteria or needs that you're looking to fit. You can now do the same thing for the candidate that you're looking for. So if it's a pickleball professional, or if you're looking for a dual racket sports professional that, can coach tennis and pickleball or padel or whatever it's going to be, platform tennis, pop tennis, there's so many now. If you're looking for someone that's more 12 and under orientated, or a high performance coach, if you're looking for someone that has specific certifications, the list goes on and on and on. That is, I think, where the industry is heading now, because the needs for the employers is not just, let me just bring in a tennis pro. It's, I need to really zero in, because the employer is looking for a very specific fit based on geography and all the other things that I just mentioned, that allow them to bring in the right person. And there's so much time and effort that goes into that on the employer's end. So this not only shortcuts that process for the search and the recruitment, but it also ensures the longevity of the hire when people get there, right? So to ensure that they have that right person for the right job.
For sure.
So that's really what I wanted to do and there's other platforms out there that do similar things, but this is really a one-stop shop that allows you to do everything from the employer's end. We really haven't missed any holes with it. So.
And on the flip side, from the job seeker point of view, it's interesting. As you were going through what you were just talking about, it's like, okay, the job seeker, you want to be specific, right? You want to be specific enough, but you may not want to be super, super, super specific where you qualify yourself out of positions, basically. So I think there's a delicate balance there, but there is the most important thing is it allows you to put in what you want to input. It's basically your choice, how much you want to put in or how little.
Exactly right. Yeah. And I would encourage, if anybody goes on the platform, any coaches that go on the platform, you want to be as detailed as possible, because the more information that you populate on your profile, right, when employers are searching for candidates, you're going to show up.
Yeah.
Right. If you're only if you don't really spend the 5 or 10 minutes to really make sure that it's thoroughly done, right? When people are searching, it's just like a Google search, right? You're going to increase your SEO, if you will. So yeah. And then, on the job seekers end, it really allows you to do the 180. So you can search for employers based on very, very specific criteria. And one of the cool features that I'm excited about is, if you were to put in, restaurants near me, if you will, right on a Google search, all right, you get the little pin drops of all the different potential places that, come up. It has the same feature on the site. So you kind of get this world map, and it's actually synced with Google. So you could find clubs based on a very specific geography.
Cool.
The other nice thing about it as well is that, let's say you're a pro that really only likes to work in a small team. You don't like working with a big staff of 10 to 15. You can search clubs based on that specific criteria. If it's a private country club, or if it's a commercial club, or if it's a public facility, you can search based on the number of courts that it has. So again, the criteria and the filters really are somewhat endless. So you can really dial in the exact fit. Or as you mentioned, if you want to keep it very broad, if you if you don't have a lot of specific criteria, you can just open it up to having it populate with as many clubs as you want based on whatever it is that you're looking for. So it
Yeah,
really
I think
makes
there
it
is a little bit
seamless.
of a balance there, because you want to make sure it's a good fit for you, but yet you don't, you also don't want to put in something so specific that you may qualify yourself out of something that actually would be a good fit that maybe doesn't appear for it on its face.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and again, the user has the flexibility to be able to create whatever type balance that they choose for. So
Awesome.
it's
I do want to repeat. I want to repeat the website. It's Racquet, RACQUET -pros.com. Again, that's Racquet,
you got it.
RACQUET -pros.com.
Right.
It's free for the job seekers to use. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. And I was actually going to mention that. So for the job seekers, that's completely free. There's absolutely no catch. You have the ability as a job seeker to create a profile. You can search openings as well as apply to openings. Now, a lot of the other competitive platforms, some you have to pay, some you don't. But this allows you really full access in terms of being able to do that from the job seekers and the employers. And there is currently, because we're just launching, there's a free 30-day trial, but there is a annual fee, a 30-day fee, or a 6-month fee. Now, with that, and this brings me, we actually, for any of the listeners that are looking to hire, I do have a coupon code for those that would like an extended offer. So employers can actually use the code courtside, all one word, all capital letters. You'll use that when you create your profile on racquetpros.com, and that'll allow you 3 months of free access. Again, you can search candidates, you can apply for as many, I'm sorry, not apply, but you can post as many openings as you like. So I hope people take advantage of it, and I'm really excited for people to use it and get going with it.
Oh, that's great. So again, for the club owners, job people looking to fill jobs, it's
Yes.
a promo code courtside, COURTSIDE, one word, all caps, and you'll get it about 3 months. I say about 3 months because we're recording this mid-May, probably release this late May. So keep that, roughly 3 months in your mind, but that's a great offer. Thank you for doing that, Mike. And
Sure, happy to do it.
with that, I'm also, we didn't kind of come back full circle. You did land on your feet, as a lot of pros did, thankfully,
Yes.
when the pandemic hit. So you are working as well. You're back in one of your original clubs, thankfully, and then you're also doing this service to not only help club owners and managers, but also to help job seekers in this crazy time. But it's getting better. It's getting better.
It is. Yes. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I forgot to. Yes, I am. I am back on my feet. I am back on my feet, and things are looking obviously much more certain with things in the pandemic starting to settle a bit. So
for you, and
fortunately, it all worked out.
For you and hopefully a lot of others. Mike,
Yes.
Thank you for doing this. This is great. Again, the website is Racquet, RACQUET -pros.com. Check it out. You heard Mike give the free promo for roughly 3 months. Just use the word courtside, one word, all caps. Check it out. check it out. Hope everyone likes it. And Mike, thanks again. Best of luck moving forward.
Thanks so much, David. Again, I really, really appreciate it.
No problem. Talk soon.
All right. All the best.